Hey, Shalom. I'd like to start out by giving all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakak, Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone. And Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is the Mayim in Atlanta, and I've got pulled up on the screen this GMS All Precepts lesson or video that he posted, and it's just showing Esau's own lips falling upon him. It's also showing their pride, because their pride is extremely high, and they really do believe that they're the people of the Lord, which they're not. They're Amalek, and Lord will we get into that, but let's go ahead and listen to these clips. And this is a good video, so you should definitely go check it out. And we're not going to go through the whole video, as you see it's at almost the half mark. So go and check this out, Baba Shaw. But here we go.
And that Israel was right.
And we're speaking about the destruction and the devastation and annihilation in the future of Edom. We spoke about
Edom, he says Edom, but Edom, which means red, Edom consists of so-called Caucasians or so-called white people, and this includes the small hatters. That includes this man on the screen right here. He is an Edomite of the tribe of Amalek. They're the head tribe of the Edomites.
about how Edom originated on the Ever Yarden, and then eventually they moved to Rome, to Italy, and then from there the Christian world and the Western world is considered a continuum of Edom and of Esau. So now we're going to speak about the reasons why they are prophesied to be destroyed. You will be covered in shame, and you will be destroyed forever. The Ibn Ezra learns that these psukim are referring to the participation of Edom in Churban Bayis Rishon. Even though the first Beis Hamikdash was destroyed by the Babylonians, nevertheless, Edom is considered an accomplice to that, because they stood by with their arms folded and watched as the Babylonians destroyed our temple. Not only that, they participated in terms of any Jews who fled there, they delivered back into the hands of the Babylonians. According to Abarbanel,
and that is incorrect. It was them that destroyed the first temple, and they destroyed the second temple, and they're going to attempt to destroy the third temple, but Yahweh Shai is not going to allow that to happen. And let's I want to show you that it was them that destroyed the first temple. So this is 1 Esdras 4 and verse 45. It says, "Thou also hast vowed to build up the temple, which the Edomites burned when Judea was made desolate by the Chaldees." The Chaldees go with Babylon, the Assyro-Babylonian Empire. And it was the Edomites that were there to destroy the temple. They're the ones that did it. They burned it. And even here, they're not taking full accountability or full responsibility for what they've done. And we're listening to this Edomite say it with his own lips. And also, take note how he's rocking back and forth. He's a freaking weirdo. These Amalekites are weird. They're weird people. They're strange children, as the scriptures call it. And they need to be put in captivity. Look at them masquerading around the planet like they're the Lord's people. I mean, they have the records to show that they're not the Lord's people. Actually, pulled it up right here, and this is from the Jewish Encyclopedia, 1925 edition, volume 5, and on page 41, it says, "Edom is in modern Jewry. Their own lips are falling onto themselves." And then reading down a little more, it says the Edomites were conquered by John Hyrcanus, who forcibly converted them to Judaism, and from then on they constituted a part of the Jewish people. Herod being one of their descendants. And the Herodian dynasty comes from Antipater the Idumean. These are Edomites, and that's where their lineage comes from. That's why they say that the seed is passed through the woman, or that lineage goes through the woman, through the Jewish womb. But that's not true. Numbers 1 and 18 shows you that it's through the male. And this is the adversary. And everything they do is adverse to the scriptures. This guy here is supposed to be prophesying, but he's got his head covered because they do everything the exact opposite of how the scripts say. But getting back to this.
Because of what they did, by Bayis Rishon, by being a bystander, for the oppression of your brother Yaakov, watching in pleasure as we were being destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar, even aiding Nebuchadnezzar, for that, techaz chavusha, you'll be covered in shame. But, why will you be cut off forever? You'll be cut off forever because of your active destruction of the second base, HaMikdash. You Romans who come from Edom, you had no right to enter my gates. The Romans had no right to enter the gates. You too, Edom proper, should not have gazed at our evil on the day of our downfall. The Edomim should not have even been gazing at it, shouldn't even been looking at such a thing. Certainly the Edomim, besides the fact that they gazed, like, there's an idea that if somebody's being punished, so if you can't help them, but don't look at it, don't watch it, like the wife of Lot. So the Edomim should not have gazed at it. You should have refrained, Edom, from your evil ways, because the day of Hashem is coming, and He's going to exact retribution from all the nations. It's coming close.
So we're waiting a long time.
Even though it's a long time away from the day of the prophecy, if God said it's going to happen, it's happening. It's guaranteed. And the Barbanel says this pasuk means that Edom should not have did what they did. You will be punished just like you burnt down Yerushalayim. You will be afflicted with hail and fire and wind from God. And don't ask, it says ki karev, but it's not happening for a long time. Because the word karev doesn't always mean immediately. Just like the Jews drank the cup of punishment, so too the nations of the world will drink the cup of punishment. And the Edom will be destroyed. We will inherit the nations that chased us out. Who will survive? Edom will be completely destroyed, but the Jewish people will not escape completely. There will be great destruction among Klal Yisrael. So now the Navi continues. V'haya beis Yaakov eish. The house of Yaakov, the house of Jacob, will be fire. Uveis Yosef lahava, and the house of Yosef will be a flame. Uveis Esav lakash, and the house of Esav will be straw. V'dolku v'hem, and Esav will be ignited, v'achalim, and will be consumed. V'lo yiyeh sarid leveis Esav. There will be no remnant of the house of Esav, ki Hashem diber, for God has spoken. In fact, we have a tradition that
and you hear him speaking of his own self. You pulled up Obadiah 1 and 18, and this is talking about them. They are going to be completely destroyed. They're going to be taken off of the earth. All of their lineage, everybody that's a part of Edom is going to be taken out because they're wicked. They're made wicked. This guy is really believes, or all of them, they really believe they're the Lord's people, but they are living a lie, and they're speaking of their own destruction that is to come.
Mashiach ben Yosef will take us out of Galos Edom. Yosef is the antidote to Edom. Yosef is the antidote to Esav. But Yosef is not the antidote to Yishmael. Yosef does not have dominion over Yishmael. Yosef has dominion over Esav. And they will be ignited, they will be consumed, and they will be destroyed. They will be destroyed. Any background affiliation with Esav, there will be such a widespread destruction. Anyone who's even remotely related will be wiped out. Why? Why is Edom destined to suffer so horribly, so terribly? The answer is Mechamas Achicha Yaakov, because of the treachery that they committed against their brother Yaakov. Techaz chavusha, they will be covered in shame. V'nechrata la'olam, they will be cut off forever. We mentioned that there were two occasions early on in Edom's history that.
And what larger shame is there than for them to be revealed as being frauds, as pretending to be another people? This is theft. It's fraud. And what greater shame is it going to be for all of Edom, but particularly Amalek, when they're completely revealed as being frauds, and all the money that they've accepted, all the lands they've accepted, everything they've been able to boost themselves up in this world with, it's going to all be taken away. Everything's going to fall down on them, considering they have masqueraded as the Lord's people. And then in the kingdom, they're going to be the absolute lowest. Even of the rest of Edom, they're going to be the lowest piece of Edom because of what they've done. And I can't wait. But getting back to this.
They committed atrocities against the Jewish people. The second one was the Romans actually destroyed the second Beis Hamikdash. But the first one was the Babylonians destroyed the first Beis Hamikdash. But even though the Babylonians destroyed the first Beis Hamikdash, nevertheless, the Edomim, who lived nearby in Har Seir, they stood by idly, and they didn't help us. Not only did they not help us, they delivered many of our captives into the hands of the Babylonians, where the ultimate fate of Edom is, they will be as if they never were. Now what does that mean, they will be as if they never were? That's pretty utter devastation. They won't even have land left, as if they never were.
The Greeks, and after that the Romans.
I just wanted to hit that one, guys. But yeah, he's prophesying their own destruction, his own. He's letting you know. And these Christians have been running around saying that the Edomites are done away with, even though we know that to not be true. There's no end to all people, as it says in Ecclesiastes, I think the first chapter. But Edom is still here, and that is who the Lord is coming back to take vengeance on. Isaiah 63 is a great example of that. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? They let the cat out of the bag. We already knew, but they definitely are allowing their own tongue to fall upon themselves. This is Job 15:6. Thine own mouth condemneth thee, and not I. So anytime they try to say that Edom doesn't exist, or that Edom won't be destroyed and that everybody could be saved, that's not true. We just heard it from those high ups of Amalek. They just told us. They just told us what's going to happen to Edom. It says, thine own mouth condemneth thee, and not I. Yea, thine own lips testify against thee. And he told some of the atrocities that they've committed as Edomites. And then that doesn't even include, because he's thinking that they're Jacob, or as he says, Yaakov, or however he says it, Yaakov. But they're not. It's speaking of the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans and the things they've done against us. And so you look at those Amalekites, they're the ones that owned the boats that brought the so-called Negroes over here, brought the Southern Kingdom over here. They're the ones that are pushing all these devious laws and allowing, basically they've turned the world upside down with their ways, their lack of ways, you should really say, because they don't really have a standard. Their standard is wickedness, and their own mouth condemns them. Their own mouth is telling about their end and how they're going to go down, in which they're going to go down, and they're going down quickly. It's the book of Numbers 24 and verse 20. It says, and when he looked on Amalek, this is when, what's his name? Balaam and Balak. And Balaam got a vision from the Lord, and he prophesied. He was telling about the latter end. He says, and when he looked on Amalek, he took up his parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations. And currently, who is the first of the nations? It's Amalek. They're right up there at the top. You look at the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Gettys. They claim to be of Amalekite descent. They claim to descend from the people of the Lord, but they're not. They're of Amalek. And this also goes in First of the Nations, because Amalek was the first to come against us coming out of Egypt. But currently they are the first of the nations. Who can't you talk about? It's them. Even I have to watch my wording with this lesson because Amalek will take it down. They'll strike my video. Amalek is currently the first of the nations, and the others bend their knee to Amalek and go towards Amalek's will. Look at him currently with these wars he's waging and the destruction he's committing. People, they're just allowing it to happen, even though there are crimes against humanity that are taking place. He's the first of the nations. And it says, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever. Just like that Amalekite was just saying. They get taken off of this planet Earth. Because they've touched the apple of the Lord's eye. They've committed great blasphemy by trying to pretend like they're the Lord's people. And these things can't be forgiven. This what is it called where you, there's a word for what they've done and it's not crossing my mind right now, Salakia. But this great fraud that they've committed, it can't be forgiven. This is Ezekiel 36 and verse 2. It says, thus saith the Lord power, because the enemy hath said against you, aha, even the ancient high places are ours in possession. These are these Amalekites, especially first and foremost, and then the rest of Idumea. They've taken the Lord's land. And they're sitting there thinking that they're the Lord's people. But they should read the rest of the scripts, because the land of Israel gets destroyed as well as the land of Babylon, which Babylon's America. It all gets destroyed. And then skipping down to verse 6, it says verse 5, it says, therefore, thus saith the Lord power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, because there are other heathen in the land currently, mainly Ishmael, but the others are there as well. And it says, and against all Idumea. Idumea is the Greek way of saying Edom. And as we said earlier, the Edomites consist of the small hatters, Amalek, as well as the rest of Slovakia, the rest of Caucasia, so-called white people. And I will say, not every so-called white person that you see is actually an Edomite, because the lineage matters through their father. So not everyone is an Idumean, but for the most part, that is who it is. Esau's the end of the world. Jacob's the beginning of it that follows. So who is at a seat of influence and a seat of power currently? It's them. And that's who the Lord is coming to destroy, first and foremost. It says, which have appointed my land into their possession, which that is what they've done, their Balfour Declaration. And they fit all of these prophecies. They are Idumea, with the joy of all their heart. And you hear how happy they are, because they really believe that they're the Lord's people, and that the Lord's coming to cast down the Edomites and put them in power. But the Lord's really coming to cast all of them down, all of Idumea down, and put them into captivity. And then after 1,000 long years, they will be done away with. It says, with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds to cast it out for a prey. And they really believe it. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks. This they have to be exposed and they have to go down. And the Lord is doing that, and they're falling. We're watching them fall. Even, I don't know if it was that clip or not, but they were talking about World War III, and it's them, those small hatters, Amalek, that is going to lead Babylon, America, into World War III. It's going to be all their fault. And so you can only imagine how in the kingdom, once these souls are reincarnated back into the kingdom and they are living in pits and building up the kingdom, how they're going to take the rest of the Edomites are going to take every opportunity they can to make Amalek's life even worse, as well as the other nations. And definitely Israel. Israel's going to take every shot that we could get on these Amalekites. They're going to be, for a large part of them, they're just going to be entertainment to work off some stress, to go judge them for whatever dumb stuff they've done. And the Lord is switching everything around, and it's now time for Edom to go into captivity. Let me get this one last scripture. Didn't have this one planned out, but he mentioned the temple and how he said the Babylonians destroyed it, but it's really them, those Edomites, burn it down. But the Lord is going to raise up the temple. So this is Amos 9 and verse 11. It says, "In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen." And that's how and why you're not going to be able to destroy the third temple, because it's the remnant of Israel, the elect of Israel, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. And in the days of old, all the heathen were under the Israelites' feet. Moab is my washpot, and over Edom will I cast my shoe, or my boot. It says that they may possess the remnant of Edom. So you can even think of them as the elect. There's going to be a portion of Edom that survives this World War III, the nukes going off, the nuclear war that's coming, and they're going to be the first to go into captivity. It's largely going to be of their kings and high ups, of their elite that are going to survive in their bunkers, but they're being preserved for captivity and to bring back the rest of their nation. It says, "And of all the heathen which are called by my name, saith the Lord that doeth this. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper." The plowman currently is Jacob, and the reaper, who reaps all of the benefits, is Edom, all of Edom, especially Amalek. You see how much money they get just for claiming to be the Lord's people. They're going to be cast down. The places are going to be switched. And the treader of grapes, him that soweth seed, and the mountain shall drop sweet wine, and all the hills shall melt, because the Lord's going to put down all rule, power, and authority. He's going to destroy and take Edom all the way down to the very, very bottom, and he's going to raise Jacob up to the top. The first will be last, and the last shall be first. And Edom, after 1,000 long years of captivity, will be taken off this earth, because they deserve it. As thou hast done, it shall be done. And they're the ones who've been trying to cull the population and to get rid of certain populations for so long. There's no argument for keeping them whatsoever. Not to mention that they're crooked, they're not right, and they can't be righteous. And we're coming into a righteous kingdom. They have to be taken away. They have to be done away with. And that is what's coming. And so, Lord will, that was edifying. I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom.